Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Victoria Marie Friday Live. We're going to get ready here in just a second. Let's see. Hello and happy Friday in the comments. Hello. So glad to see you. So glad you're here. If you're new here to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell. That way you'll be notified every time I go live and do some things here on the channel. Hello, Robin, Heather, Crafty Disney Girl. Hello, Melissa. Hey, what's going on? So glad you guys are here with me today. Let's kick off the weekend, get inspired to do some crafty things. Hello, India. How's it going? So glad you guys are here. We didn't meet last Friday, so now we're back, right? Now we're back. I hosted the Victoria Marie Online Virtual Crop. We did Mixed Media Madness, and we had a lot of fun. The next one's not coming to the end of the month, so you should be seeing some information come for that. We're going to hang out for just a second. Let some more people pop on. Hey, Rudy, what's going on? Hey, Tam. Hello, Angie. So glad you're here. Happy Friday. Hey, Fran, what's going on? And Cindy. Paper Beats Rock Designs. I love that name. Hello. That channel name. Hey, Carrie, how's it going? So glad you guys are here. We're going to hang out for just a little bit. Let me know in the chat, what do you have planned, scrapbooking or anything creative for the weekend? Are you giving yourself an opportunity this weekend to do something fun? While we're at it, don't forget to hit the like button. That lets YouTube know that you like coming here to the Victoria Marie Lives, which I hope you do. That helps out the channel, so make sure you give us a thumbs up. Let me know in the chat section, what kind of creative shenanigans are you getting into this weekend? I am actually taking the weekend off. I have not taken a weekend off in a very long time. I've been working a whole lot. If you're on the Victoria Marie Mighty Network, or if you follow me on Instagram, I've talked about how I kind of overdid it the past few months, and so I'm trying to scale back and reset and take some time off because I have been working a whole lot. So this weekend, I'm going to work on catching up with my project life. I am doing a miniature room build that I've been working on for months and months, and I haven't finished yet, so I want to work on that. And I'm going to be doing some organizing of my stamps, which for me is super highly satisfying. Absolutely love it. I'll share that process when I talk about my room reorganization. That's not going to come for weeks, so I'm still not done with this process. And then I celebrated my 40th birthday last week, so I do have some birthday money that I might spend. So there we go. Hello, everybody who's just joined me. Let me know what you're doing this weekend. Some folks are scrapping. Hey, Scrapping with Lori, how's it going? Let's see. Sarah says, just met my goddaughter for the first time and I need to scrap those photos. Oh, that's fantastic. Melissa says, going to work more on the challenges from the mixed media crop. Absolutely. Tam is scrap lifting herself. Nothing wrong with that. Heather, finally getting to play with mixed media. Yeah, missed the crop last weekend. And, you know, for those of you who aren't familiar with the crop, I hold them once a month. This year, I'll have them 10 months out of this year, with the exception of June, because I'm going on vacation. And December, my plan is to take the entire month of December off. I hope that works out. But either way, pretty much every month, we host a online virtual crop, and participants have 3 months to, not 3 months, 3 weeks to finish the challenges. So you don't have to finish them during the weekend of the actual crop. So we do have people who are still working on the crop challenges, which is great. So if you consider yourself a slow scrapper, or you want to just take your time and do your thing, then you don't have to rush during the weekend to get them done. Although we do have some people who do get all the challenges done within the weekend. So you do what you do. Hey, Lori, I'm so glad that you're here. She's working on an Easter layout, which is perfect because Easter, which apparently I wasn't aware of, apparently Easter is this weekend. So I'm like rushing to get all the Easter stuff together. We're not doing anything big other than making a ham, and I get my daughter Easter treats and my mom and my wife Easter treats every year, but anyway, Dee Dee says, hello, Victoria. How was your birthday? My birthday was great. We actually were not able to do what we had planned to do, which was to go to a getaway house. But we've got a credit on that trip. What happened was it ended up raining in the area that we were supposed to be at. And we want to take full advantage of the opportunities of being out in the woods somewhere and semi-camping. So I just spent the day running the streets, shopping. We went out for brunch, and I treated myself to a couple of things. So that's how I brought in my 40th. And Bree and I are going to go to our getaway house thing down the road. Probably, maybe next month. I don't know. We have a credit, so we can go whenever we want. Hey, Patty, what's going on? Have the house to herself this weekend. Lots of uninterrupted time. Oh, that is so nice. Heather says, I love Friday Lives. Me too, Heather. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that all of you guys are here. Cindy is using Allie Edwards' scrapbook kit to scrapbook spring flowers. Fantastic. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have, someone mentioned the, oh, where'd my comments go? My comments got stuck. My chats got stuck. But as I was scrolling through, I saw someone say, my inner nerd is excited for the Scrap Your Fandom crop that's coming up. So if you're a fan of something, whether it's music or sci-fi or sports or whatever, that whole theme, or whole crop's going to be about scrap your fandoms. I don't know how many of you scrapbook the things that you're into, just you personally, not anybody else in your life, just you personally. I think those are great stories to get in your scrapbook. So that's what that whole crop is going to be about. There's going to be a little something for everybody. Let's see, celebrated my 65th birthday. Well, happy birthday, Alara. Happy birthday. Hey, Deborah, what's going on, girl? So glad you're here. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that all of you guys are here and joining me on this Friday. I hope that you are going to take some time this weekend to do something creative, even if it's just 5, 10, 15 minutes where you're sitting in your space or wherever it is that you keep your crafty materials, or you pull something out and work on something quick or just make progress on a project. Anything that you can do that really feeds your creative soul. I think sometimes we get really super wrapped up, and I'm raising my hand on this because I do it all the time, but we get super wrapped up in all the things we think we need to be doing and we should be doing, and sometimes we don't spend time doing the things that we want to do, and that's really important. So whatever time that you can carve out for yourself to do something creative this weekend, whether it's scrapbooking, planning, knitting, embroidery, woodworking, making jewelry, watching a tutorial, taking a class, whatever it may be, do something for yourself this weekend. Speaking of classes, if you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or follow my blog, I shared that scrapbook.com has a new class that just premiered this week, and it's 10 designers create 10 cards for cards of kindness. It's kind of a weird title. But myself and 10 other designers have lessons that we're teaching in this class, all about really wonderful, simple, easy cards that you can make. And I'm teaching a class called Simple and Easy Cards, or a lesson rather, where I create a really fun card using stamping ink, glitter paste, a stencil. Super easy to come together, really easy to mass produce. So if you want to learn more about that, it's a free class. So all you have to do is just sign up with scrapbook.com if you haven't already, and then you can take a number of classes with them. I think all their classes are free. And so you can go take this class and make some cards and learn more about the Cards for Kindness initiative, which are people making cards to send hope and inspiration to those who need that. And scrapbook.com is a part of that initiative. So go take a free class, make some cards, whether for yourself, family, or be a part of this Cards for Kindness initiative. You can learn more at scrapbook.com. You can also go to my blog so you can learn more about this class, and the link to my blog is in the description. So make sure you go check it out. It's a fun class, real easy lessons, won't take you too long. Have fabulous designers that are participating in this, from Jana Eubank to Simon Hurley. Really, really fun people. I think it's Crystal Wiley. I mean, all kinds of folks that are participating in this for this class. So go check it out. It's free. Do something free this weekend. Why not? Alrighty. So today I am playing with my stash. I'm actually going to switch my camera here so you can see my desktop. And let's see. Let's go here and let's do that and transition there. Let's see. It should be popping up here in just a second. There's a slight delay. And I haven't really dug in my stash a whole lot recently. I've been received a whole bunch of product for various different projects that I'm working on. And I haven't really dug in my stash, and I need to, because I have some stash that needs to be used up. But one of the things that I love to do is to take my pattern papers and kind of cut them up, and I usually do this preliminarily before I use them. So any pattern papers that I have left over from kits or collections and that type of thing, I'll take it all and cut it up into workable sizes or sizes that I use regularly, and then use them to create things like cards and scrapbook pages, use them in my traveler's notebooks, that type of thing. A lot of times if it's just too much scrap paper, I will put them all in, like pack it up, and then I'll donate it to the school that's up the street. They're currently not accepting donations, but the teachers do appreciate, particularly the art teacher appreciates getting all that extra paper. But before I dig into that, I'm going to be using, everything I'm using on this layout today is all from my stash. I'm not using anything new. There might be some things that are recent, but it wasn't anything that I've gotten as of late. So the way that I store my scrap paper, so I'm going to start out with that first because that's going to be the star of the show today, is I just take a regular old plastic bag, you know, the ones that you get with your scrapbook kits. This one's from Hit Kit Club. I reuse theirs all the time. And anytime that I have any leftover scraps of paper from kits, collections, paper pads, open stock that I've cut into, when I'm done with it, what I'll do is I'll take it and I will trim it down. Now, I shared this on Instagram one time and people had some questions about what sizes do I usually cut my papers down in. I only like to keep papers or strips of paper or cut it down into sizes that I can normally work with. So I have some little scrappies here. Let's see, let me kind of move these out the way. So typically I will do, some of these I've already cut into. I have 6 by 12, or at least roughly that size. Let me move this here. So I'll take all those papers and I will trim them down depending on how much of the paper that I have left. If I've cut into, say, a 12 by 12, like I've punched or I've fussy cut or something, if there's a good amount of that paper left, then I'll go ahead and trim it down to 6 by 12. And this is the perfect size. I can then cut down even further if I want to. I can use it as a border. I can do all kinds of fun things with this particular size. I can also use it in my traveler's notebook. So 6 by 12 is one size that I cut it down to. I also cut down my pattern papers to 6 by 6, which is fantastic, particularly if it's a pattern paper that has a smaller design, because that means I can use it on smaller projects. Maybe like cut this up to a 3 by 4 pocket card. I can use it to layer, all kinds of fun stuff. So these are all just pattern papers from different manufacturers. This one, a really great pattern that's a little bit more scaled down, but it was at one point a 12 by 12 sheet of pattern paper. So I have all these papers that I can use for a variety of different projects. My daughter also knows that she can come into this and grab any scrap papers for her projects that she wants to work on. This makes really good wallpaper for little mini rooms because we're both into miniatures. So it makes really, really good wallpaper or flooring, depending on the design of the pattern paper. And of course, you can use them for cards. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. So 6 by 6 is another size that I use. So 6 by 12 and 6 by 6. I also trim them down to 4 by 6, as well as, let me get them out. Oh, there we go. I have a little pouch. I'll show you here in a second. I also trim them down to 3 by 4. So I can use these again for layering behind a photo. I can use them in smaller mini album projects. Sometimes I'll take these smaller ones and I'll use them as note cards if I'm sending out packages and whatnot, which is really fun. So really workable, easy pieces that I can work with there. Now, what I like to do, and I try to stay organized, and I'm glad that I pulled out this particular pack. What I try very hard to do is to only fill up one plastic baggie of scraps, because realistically, I'm not going to use all of these paper scraps, and sometimes I don't reach for these every time I do a project, depending on the type of project that I'm doing. So I love playing with new stuff too, or there may be a project that I'm working for that's a contract project that I have to use the stuff that I was given. But I definitely want to have some scraps on hand for other miscellaneous things that I do, or if I today want to use my stash. So I limit myself in terms of storage so that I'm not curating this huge, large collection of scraps that I know I'm not going to use. So if I exceed this, that means I either need to use it or I need to trim up some more papers and create paper packs that I can then donate or give away. And typically I will cut something up and I'll send out a message to another scrappy friend or what, I'm like, hey, I've got some extra paper, do you want it? And I'll just let it go to someone else. Or my daughter can keep it. But we try to, as much as we possibly can, or as much as I possibly can, you have a good working amount of scraps and then letting the rest go away by way of donating or whatnot. If it's just one little menial piece of paper, then I'll put it in, the recycle bin. But I try not to go over this. But if I do, then I need to purge, okay? So all of these papers get stored there. I also have this little plastic pocket. I purchased a bunch of these years ago from the Container Store. I was using them to organize my stamps. I now have a new system that I'm organizing my stamps, which I'll share that with you guys when I do my studio organization video. And what I do is if I'm cutting into these paper scraps, or if I have little small pieces of paper scraps like these that I want to try to use in some way, then I'll stick them in here so they don't get lost or get jumbled up. So I just pop those right into this little pocket here. And then the 4x6 and the 3x4 cards or pieces of paper, those also go in there too. So there's the smaller ones that'll fit. I want to say that this is 5x7. I know someone will probably ask me what size that is. I think it's 5x7. Nope, it's 7x10. It's 7x10. Got these at the Container Store. I don't know if they still have these or not, guys. Couldn't tell you. They may have them. I don't know. But I bought them years and years ago. I think I can sit my 6x6 in there. Sure can. So now I've got my scrap pieces of paper. Super portable. I could take this to a crop or whatnot. Then I have my 6x6. And they all go into this plastic bag here. And I'm good to go with my paper scraps. So when I'm in the mood to work with my scraps, I come to that first. Now I do have some papers from recent projects or things that I've worked on that I haven't cut down or anything yet. So what I'll do is I'll just stick these right in front. So when I have the opportunity to, I will go through and trim those up and kind of add those into my paper scrap stash. And this is it. This goes into my little cube, and then when I want to use it, I will pull it out. Okay, so I know a lot of you probably have different ways in which you organize your paper scraps. Let me know in the chat section, how do you currently organize your paper scraps? Let me know. So for this project, what I did was I went through my paper scraps and I pulled out some pattern papers. These are all from different manufacturers. I've got some yellow, green, this tone-on-tone sort of pink, rose color, blue, a stripe pattern paper, and this is a white pattern paper with really faint gray text. It also has some gray on the back. And what I like to do is sort of create my own backgrounds using pattern paper for my stash. It's a great way to use it up, and then if I have anything left, then I'll mass produce some cards and then have that done. So I try to get more than one project done. So I try to do more than one project. One, so I can have things on hand, depending on what that is. Two, I try to not put the same stuff back into the paper stash collection. I try to use it up as much as I can. That's not always the case, but I try to use it up as much as I can. So what I did for this particular project is I cut up strips of paper to create a pattern behind my photos, or coming out behind my photos. You're going to see what that looks like here in just a second. All I did was I cut these down to 1x6 strips. You can cut them into whatever size that you want to. This particular technique is great if you want to create something like a patchwork design, or something that looks like it's crisscross designed, or you want to do something with a row of different stripes of pattern paper. You can stitch over them, you can do stamping techniques, you can do all kinds of fun things. You can distress the edges, pop them up with dimension, all kinds of fun things that you can do with pattern paper scraps. Now, do they have to be strips? No. This is a great opportunity to pull out those punches. Border punches might be a good idea. If you have dies, any of your tools, perfect to use with your paper scraps. Let me know in the chat section, how are you currently storing your paper scraps? Looks like Aubrey Calvin has joined in the mix.
Oh, no.
Can those thin strips be made into bookmarks? You know what? I don't know if you're serious or funny, dear, but yes, in fact, you probably could make bookmarks out of these paper strips. I think your daughter is sitting across from me. She just rolled her eyes.
Hi.
Corinne says hi, everybody. Okay, let me know how you are currently storing your paper scraps. Awesome. Bobby says, I have a 12 by 12 magazine holder. When it's full, I purge. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to come back to the paper strips in just a second. Let me show you what else I pulled out of my stash. Now, I don't really have a ton of direction with this project other than I knew I wanted to create a background using my paper stash. So I have a few things I pulled from my embellishment stash. And what I like to do is draw inspiration from my pattern papers, and I'll just pull items based off some of the dominant colors here. So I've got blues, yellows, pinks, all those fun things. And so I went through and I start picking out stuff. Aubrey says, I was being serious. Well, yes, honey, you in fact can use these to make bookmarks. You can use them to make bookmarks. Missy says, I have them in drawers organized by color. Awesome. Snappy says, I store mine in 3 bins sorted by size of scraps. Cool. Alrighty, so I'm using these pattern papers. The color in the pattern papers is my jumping off point for selecting the materials that I want. So I've got all the materials that coordinate with the colors of the little paper strips. So we've got pinks, blues, greens, and yellows. I'm kind of dealing with sort of a rainbow of colors here. And then I went through and I just grabbed a variety of things. Stickers, puffies, textured embellishments. I want to have some options. Will I use all of this on one project? Maybe not. But while I have it out, I could use it on multiple projects. So typically I would make a layout. Maybe I'll make a card. Maybe I'll make a pocket card, something like that. So I can work with it while I already have it out. So I have some embellishments here. Look how cute those are. That's from Magical Rainforest. Really adorable. This is also an opportunity for me to use up or to empty any packages. So I've got these butterflies left over from Sweet Story. I also have some old die cuts that I've had in my stash. This is from the Good Vibes collection. This has been around for a little bit. So some die cuts there that I could potentially use for this layout. I've got some puffy stickers. I've got some wood epoxy buttons. Again, things that just kind of hang out in my stash that I haven't used yet, or need to use rather, or use up. I like to grab, again, other textured and dimensional things. So these are felt hearts from the Bailey collection from Felicity Jane. I also pulled out some stars. I pull out things that I think will work with my layering and stuff for my projects. I got some exclusive tags, as well as some more Felicity Jane embellishments that went with the color scheme that I'm going with, but also have general icons that I can use, particularly when I'm not quite sure where I'm going with the layout. I just want some general things. I wouldn't pick anything too themey or whatnot that doesn't go with the theme of my layout. And today I'm talking about my daughter's obsession with the book series. I'll come back to in just a second. Of course, I pulled out some stickers and then some more dimensional things. I pulled these Shea arrows and ampersands from Felicity Jane because they have lots of direction. And I could potentially use one of these on the layout to embellish. Notice there's all these different manufacturers here. I brought in a little bit of bling with this foiled foam embellishments. This was designed by Tracy Reed for Gossamer Blue. Also have some die cuts from Hip Kit Club. Some of the Studio Calico cork stickers. I purchased these at Tuesday Morning a few years ago and I have yet to use it. But I pulled it out because this one says I love to read. This one says nerd with glasses, bookworm, and this layout is about my daughter's joy of reading a particular series. I'm going to set this over here to the side. Then I just pulled some more stickers from my stash, some Bella Boulevard phrase stickers, and then some cut-aparts from Ellie's Studio that I've had in my stash for a very long time. I was picking out labels that I can potentially journal on, or write phrases or stamp phrases, or use as anchors for layering. So I like to grab a variety of things from my stash that I can then use on a layout. Again, I may not use all of them, but I have some choices. And I use the colors from the pattern papers that I selected to inform me of what colors of embellishments that I potentially want to use on the layout. I also have some thickers options or some font options. These Dear Lizzie stickers, I love these type-faced stickers, are really fun. This is from Amy Tangerine. Both of these are super old. And notice I haven't, I bought mini packs of these, so I have a lot of them to use. Awesome Life. sticker set, exclusive puffy stickers from Hip Kit Club. Again, just some options. These have been around for a while. These are called Goodness, some thickers. I've had like at least 7 packs of those because I love them so much, and I've used them all up. I've got some from Basic Gray. Oh, how I love Basic Gray. Love Basic Gray so much. And then some Ellie Studio stickers as well. So I want to use 2 different fonts for this particular title for the layout. Okay, so all of those items are from my stash. So I hope that you're inspired maybe this weekend to pull out some things from your stash and make some pages and get your stash used up. I'm going to start with a piece of white linen cardstock from Cartabella. It's some of my favorite linen cardstock. Before I do that, let me go to the chat here. Let's see, 12 by 12 boxes is how Paper Beats stores her scraps. Kathy stores hers in Totally Tiffany sleeves, sorted by color. Just sorted them this week, so she'll see how it will work for her. Gemma says she has hers bigger scraps in a plastic tray that's 12 by 9 inches and little scraps in smaller plastic boxes. Awesome. Hey, Barb. She keeps her 12 by 12 scraps, or her scraps in 12 by 12 boxes that are organized by color. 1 box for each neutrals, pastels, primary, and specialty papers. Fantastic. Dee Dee says, I love the rainbow fringes. Me too. They're super cute. Caitlin, thickers are my favorite supply as well. I will hoard thickers until kingdom comes. Heather says, I miss Basic Gray too. I know, right? Hoard all the Basic Gray stuff. All right, so I have a piece of 12 by 12 white linen cardstock. This is beautiful cardstock. It's texture cardstock from Cartabella. Corinne wants to touch it too. Nice. And what I did was I used my large format printer. Someone just asked me, I was about to get to that. For today's journaling, what I did was I went into Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, and I resized my paper to 12 by 12. I believe Microsoft has an option for 12 by 12. At least that's what I selected. Before, I would just change the paper size. You can set your paper size to whatever size paper you want to print on in Microsoft Word. Once that 12 by 12 document opens, I'm able to create a text box in Microsoft, type my journaling, and I can position it anywhere on the document. I decided to put it down here because my photos are going to go right up here. And I did print my photos in black and white. I do that a lot so that I can have a little bit more freedom in terms of the types of colors that I want to use on my layout. And I'm using a lot of colors today. So I printed them in black and white, 4 by 6. And then once I have the text positioned on the document, then I just send it to my printer. Now, if you are going to be printing on anything larger than an 8.5 by 11 size paper, you'll need to do so on a printer that's formatted to do that, that's designed to do that. So I use a large format printer. I use I'm trying to see what the Canon number is. It's a Canon, what's that number say there on the bottom right? Yeah, what's that number say?
TS9521C.
A TS9521C, that's the all-in-one crafters printer from Canon. That I purchased recently that I waited literally 8 months for them to come back in stock because I wasn't trying to spend like $10,000 on Amazon trying to buy this printer. I learned about this printer from Damask Love on Instagram. I've been following her forever, and she is very kindly lets people know when the printer's back in stock. I think it's called the all-in-one crafters printer or something like that, but it does print 12 by 12, and so I use the printer to do that. Now, if you don't have a large format printer, what you can do is open up a Microsoft Word document and then set it to landscape, okay? Set it to landscape, not portrait, but set it to landscape, and then insert a text box, type out your journaling, and then you can cut it. And the reason why I say landscape is so that you have a larger space so it can span a little bit wider on your 12 by 12 layouts if that's in fact the size that you're creating the journaling for. So if you're doing a 12 by 12 layout, set that document to landscape, create a text box, position it, or well, actually you can position it wherever, because at this point what you'll do is once it's printed, then you can trim it out and then slap it on your 12 by 12 pattern or 12 by 12 paper. I print that on you can print it on computer paper, cardstock. I like to print it on vellum, and then you just adhere it to wherever it is that you need to adhere. And what happens is it makes it look like you've typed directly on your background. So that is a good workaround if you do not have a large format printer, is to print your journaling 8.5 by 11, resize it or change it to a landscape view, add in a text box, type in your text so that you have a longer space here versus it being on the 8.5 by 11, it'll be on 11.5 by 8. And then all you have to do is just trim it and slap it on your 12 by 12 paper, and then it looks like you've typed on if you don't have a large format printer. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so printed the journaling. These are photos of my daughter, and she is in. Let me know if you have a young one in your life, or if you yourself, if you like reading fantasy. My kiddo is into the Percy Jackson series.
And the Olympians.
And the Olympians. Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. I think I put the champions in the journaling. Sorry, kid. Anyway, I'll have to correct that. You know what I'm talking about.
Dude.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so she was introduced to this series a couple of years ago, but she's gotten to it a lot recently. And it's not surprising that if you are a Percy Jackson fan, then 9 times out of 10, you're probably a Harry Potter fan Percy Jackson fan, you're probably a Harry Potter fan as well, which we are. But she's pictured here holding these books. And we recently ordered the rest of the books in this series, so when she's finished with one, she doesn't have to wait for the other. Watch the movie, which you didn't like the movie, did you?
I'm not going to get into it, but I will go on for like hours.
She will, yeah. She says she's not going to get into it because she'll go on for hours about it. The movie, apparently, according to the fandom, was not... It was a good movie, but it departed a lot from the storyline, right? Too much. So anyway, she's holding the book, and then she's hugging the book. So I like scrapbooking what she's into as she's getting older and developing new interests and all those good things. Like to have these types of stories documented for us to look back on over the years. So I printed these photos 4x6, one slightly smaller because I trimmed it, it does have a border around it. And I want to bring in my paper strips now because I want to create something in the background of these photos. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do that is I am going to position the photos like so, to where this one where she's holding, she has her eyes closed, and she's just loving the book. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this photo right on top of this one. I'm just going to slant it just a little bit. I love layering my photos. And then, of course, it's not a Victoria Marie layout unless we grab some foam. So I'm going to use this foam strip. This is from scrapbook.com, some of my favorite foam. And add some foam to the back of that. Let me know if you're a Percy Jackson fan or a Harry Potter fan. My kiddo is obsessed. Obsessed. And we just learned today that they have Percy Jackson themed camps.
Camp Half-Blood.
Camp Half-Blood. We have there's one in Austin, Texas we found. There's also some in New York and other places too. So there we go. Alrighty, so popped up those photos. Now, at this point, I have a few options in terms of how I want this design to go. I don't have a huge plan. I'm just going to play. And sometimes sitting down and scrapbooking or creating is a lot about playing, exploring, and experimenting. There are several things I can do with these strips of paper. I'm just going to use them as a layering element on my background. But if I have my sewing machine available to me, which I don't, because it's not working, I would maybe stitch around the borders or run some stitches through it. You can stamp. You can distress. You can use your punches and whatnot with this. There's so many things that you can do to add a little bit more interest to these strips. So all I'm going to do is just grab some strips and start creating. So at this point, I want to make sure that I leave enough space for my title, which maybe that's what, let's see, I think I'll have enough. So I think it's going to read Percy Jackson Obsessed right here. So I think I'm just going to keep those photos there. And I think since my photos are going on the vertical, I could probably be okay with my layers going on the horizontal. So kind of what I'm thinking about is just coming in, and since I'm using up scraps, I'm not worried about trimming them any further. I'm just going to pop them in where I think that they need to go and just start making a really fun layered presentation. Okay? And there might be some other things that I want to do with these strips as I'm laying them down. Not sure yet. We'll get there when we get there. I'm just trying to get a feel of what I want to do. Maybe I'll bring one here. Just kind of some wonky strips. Not everything has to be super linear and clean. You can have some fun with some stuff. Just have a go, just play. Give yourself permission to play and experiment, right? So I'm just kind of overlapping and layering these strips and kind of see how they look behind my photos. I haven't adhered the photos down just yet. And all I'm doing is creating a layer. And I'm just grabbing, I don't have a rhyme or reason, I'm just grabbing paper. That's what I cut it up for. I'm just kind of having some fun here. There we go. And let's bring in maybe another green. There's no rhyme or reason. I don't have this planned. I'm just doing my thing. Again, you can add some interest to these strips if you want. It's starting to look pretty decent. You can cut them up in different sizes. They don't all have to be the same size, right? They can be totally different sizes if you want. Let me add some yellow. Great way to use this all up. Okay, I think what I want to do is find a natural end to this. I'm going to come in and add some more. Just having some fun. Whatever. And whatever of these strips I have left, remember, I'm going to look for opportunities to use them in different ways for different projects. And for me, it's always good fodder to make cards. Always. Okay. Let's see here. I usually always cut more than what I'll actually use, which is cool. Okay, so I'm going to lift up my photos. And I have this really beautiful sort of color pattern paper situation going on. I'm just going to shift these up just a little bit. I'm going to show you a way that you can make sure these all stay in the place once you have them down. I like how this all kind of crisscrosses and comes together. I'm just really kind of going for it, you know? It's not like this has to be complicated. I love, love, love just layering on pattern papers. Come bring this over again. Making sure, I need to make sure that I don't get too happy and I don't have enough space for my title. So I have them kind of layered together. Okay, all right. Let me bring in some more, or maybe this one here, kind of finish that out. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to come in, I'm just going to select a few and cut the ends. This is just adding some interest. I'm going to cut it at an angle. Nothing major, just something a little different. I love how all these papers, they're all from different manufacturers. I can bring in my photo. And I love how just cutting a couple of those on the edge just gives it just a little bit more interest. I didn't do all of them, just some of them. What else could I do? I could come in and distress some of these. I could stamp on some of them. I can do all kinds of things to it. The meat is in those details, right? Now, I want to make sure, again, that I have room for my title here. My title's going to go here. And that I do have some space to do a little bit of embellishing. But that pattern paper is going to do most of the work for me. Now, let me see. Hang out for just a second because there's something I need to grab. Do I have it still? Yes. Okay. So now I do have a lot of these strips of pattern papers left, and I can use these for other projects, right? So I'm going to set this to the side. But now I have this really interesting background, kind of my starting point here. Now that I have all of these strips into place, the question is well, how do I adhere them once I have them set? Now, of course, I have adhesive already on the back of my photo, so I could come here and just plop this down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use press and seal. And I've seen card makers do this. When they build out a scene on a card, they'll use, sometimes they'll use press and seal. And what that does is it'll help you hold your elements in place. And then you can just lay a sheet of press and seal down, pick it up, add your adhesive, and then put your items back down. Now, those of you who are familiar with this product probably know that Jennifer McGuire's husband designed press and seal, which is a pretty cool little factoid. So I'm just going to take some press and seal, grab it out of your kitchen. No one's going to care. They probably don't use it anyway. And I'm going to see if this is going to work. So I'm just going to lay this right on top. I'm going to see if this will pick up my pattern paper. Oh, it does. Now, I need to adjust one or two. Just to adjust it just a little bit. These don't have to be too incredibly straight. I'm going to try to pick this up as best as I can. Now this press and seal has a product on it that seals around your bowls when you're using it to protect food in a container. But you can also use it for your crafting. So I'm going to pick this up. Bam! Now what can I do with this? I can come in and add my adhesive. Rennie said, whoa, that was magical. I don't care if these strips got a little wonky. They don't have to all be straight and perfect. That's not what I'm going for here. I'm just going for a really nice layered look. You adjust this as you need to. I wish this was my original idea, but it was not. I learned this from Jennifer McGuire. The sweetheart that she is. I learned so many things from Jennifer McGuire. So I'm just adding some regular roller adhesive. Okay, use my press and seal. Now, I can go and put this on my background. So if you're trying to layer embellishments and all that, if you're one of those types that has to get your layers sort of planned out before you commit, this is a really great way to do it. So I'm going to get this straight again. Make sure that I have it the way that I need it. Adhere my paper strips down. Pull up my press and seal. Make sure my papers are down. If you're using textured paper, you want to make sure that you're pressing really good. Particularly if you use roller adhesive. Okay, and there we go. It's into place. And I just used a little piece of press and seal. That's all I used. Okay? So, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your local grocery store, run in and grab you some press and seal. Tell them Victoria sent you. They're not going to know who you're talking about, but that's okay. Grab yourself a roll of press and seal. It's 70 square feet. You'll have plenty of it that you can use. You can do so many things with press and seal, craft-wise. So, grab yourself some press and seal. Okay, so what I want to do is just make sure that all my little pieces are in place the way I want to. Now, if I have to go through and adjust, I will. Like, I need to kind of adjust this down just a tiny bit. I'm not worried about getting it too adhered in the middle here because my photos are going there. This is kind of coming up. I didn't put enough adhesive on the strips, but that's okay. Alrighty. That out. There we go. Now, that's in the place. I can come over and bring my photos. And I have plenty of room for my title, which is what I wanted. Okay, so there's that. Now, some of y'all are going to run out or, you know, take your phone with you. You can still go on YouTube if you have the app. Run and grab your press and seal. All right, so I'm just going to stick these right here. And now I've got a cool background using my pattern paper scraps. Kept them all into place using the press and seal. All right, let me go to the chat real quick before we move on to the title. Now some of you are like, wow, I have some press and seal. And it's probably sitting in your kitchen. So to my earlier question, we do have some Percy Jackson fans in here. Heather says you can also print your journaling on transparency. It'll look like a typed background. Absolutely. Absolutely. Crafty Confidence says the Percy Jackson series I read when I was in high school. Cool. So there's a lot of people who love that series, by the way.
Quite popular.
Yeah, they're very popular.
Love that background.
Yeah, lots of people love the series. Cool. We have Potter fans, Percy fans. Yeah, Deborah, I'm going to read the Percy Jackson series too, mainly because Rennie's so hooked on it. And she's super, like most Percy Jackson fans, they're super critical of the movie. So I want to read the series this summer and go there. Jennifer says, I'm Ravenclaw here. Go Ravenclaws. I thought about weaving the strips, but that required a level of concentration that I'm not up to today. But I have done that before. I have weaved the strips. Alrighty, so that press and seal idea was a good idea, right? Kathy says, I already have 3 boxes in my pantry. Not solely for crafting. Karen says, magic! Yes, we all have some, right? I have press and seal, aluminum foil, saran wrap, all in my craft section. If anyone had to go through my things, they think I was crazy. Hey, we use what works, right? Let's add on a title. So I think what I want to do is use these skinny fonts. This is from Ellie Studio. And I'm going to do Percy. I might have to add some extra adhesive to these stickers, mainly because this paper is textured, and sometimes stickers don't stick all the way good to textured paper. Let's see. Let's grab a C. These are called Jane Alphas from Ellie Studio. These are awesome. I love Ellie Studio everything. I usually buy, I think I pretty much own everything she's sold over the years. I'm choosing black because I need that balancing effect with the colors that I have going on here. When I'm working with a lot of pattern paper like this, I'm not always compelled to do a ton of embellishing because then it might be a little bit too much to the eye, but usually I'll wait to see how it's going to go. But I want to make sure I get the title down. And I already have the journaling done, so that's cool. Now these pattern paper strips could have gone in any direction and any orientation on this layout. But I just chose to use it as a layering element. Oh, come on, little bits. Don't you hate the little bits inside the sticker that they stick to your finger? Okay. Just laying these down. Let's speed that up. J. K. S-O-N. Go. Again, I don't really know where this layout is going until I get there. It just is what it is. Okay, now I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, and that's use a T-square ruler for what I bought it for, because I'm hard-headed. Okay, So, and my titles are wonky, and that's just how it is. But I'm going to use this so that I can get these letters lined up. Okay. So these letters are from Ellie's studio. They're called Stanley or Jane alpha letters. I believe this is a letter set that she sells regularly in her shop. So you can just go to Ellie's studio and check that out. But I love using the smaller with the larger font stickers because it gives me an opportunity to do titles like this when I'm doing like multi-word titles and I want to add a little bit of interest by using more than a different style of letter. I appreciate a small, thin font, sticker font. Trying to get these down. And then I'm going to bring in a thickers. You can also stamp the title too. That's always a really great idea. That's as straight as that's going to be. And so that's what the sticker sheet looks like. I was thinking about using the Hazel title alpha. That's also by Ellie Studio. Either one would have worked, but I think I like the black skinny letter. Okay, so I like this blue. I like both of these blues. They don't technically match the dark blue that's here, so I don't know. I also like the idea of using this color. And because it's a book, I like the idea of using this font. Plus it just adds another shape and interest to it. So let's kind of roll with it and see what happens. And you know, if it don't work, it don't work. Let's see here. Let's see. And of course it's a thicker. And it's a chipboard thicker, which means you'll have to add some extra adhesive to it. Let me bring this out while I'm being smart. I'll set that just a little bit. This is also leaving me some space to do some like dooley-doo here. And by dooley-doo, I mean embellish. That's a technical term, dooley-doo. Please follow me for more technical terms for scrapbooking. Oh boy. Okay, so let's go and finish that out.
Champions.
Well, I didn't know. Corinne's correcting me on the title.
Hey, I have a tiny one of them. Do you need to read the tiny book? Look, I made a tiny Percy Jackson book. Do you need to read the tiny Percy Jackson book?
No, I do not. Thank you.
I mean, if it helps you to spell it right, then, or even if they get it right in the first place, then I think it's worth it.
Now I'm just playing around. Just trying to decide where nope, see, I should have just kept it the way it was. You know how when you second guess yourself, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's me, second guessing myself here. Okay. Move, 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 move. Move, move. Okay, let me go back to what I was doing. Okay. Let me get these into place. I will add some extra adhesive to the back of these because if you're familiar with chipboard thickers, the adhesive on them is not long lasting. That adhesive dries pretty darn quickly over time. So you want to add, I usually use liquid adhesive. Did I spell that wrong? I did spell it wrong. Lord Jesus. Y'all, help me. Corinne's making fun of me now. Look, my job is to make layouts. No one told me I had to spell.
It's like any other thing you're doing, and then you start scrapbooking, and suddenly you need to go back to first grade.
I need to go back to first grade and learn how to spell. And there's some truth to that. You're right. You're right. My bad, yo. Okay. That leaves me some space for a little dooley-doo there. Okay. Technical term. I like the thickers too. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's going to come together. Now, sometimes when you're doing a layout, it doesn't sometimes come together until it starts coming together, but it is what it is. All right, so we've got that done. Let's go ahead and start doing some embellishing. So we got our background layer done. Journaling is already done. I will go back and add adhesive to these letters. I'm glad I stuck with that because I really like that. All right, let's add some stuff on here. I want an arrow of some sort. Like that looks cool, right? That looks cool. But I want a little something here. I don't know. That'll hang out for a second. And let's build out a couple of anchors. And by that, for those of you who are new to these parts, hello. What I mean by that when I talk about layering is you want a starting place. So you select an embellishment that can serve as an anchor. And I'm just going to go through my little scraps here to see what I have. And some of it may work and some of it may not, but you know, that's okay. These are huge die cuts. Those are ginormous. I like things that I can tuck in or layer on top of stuff. So I'm grabbing these die cuts from Good Vibes, and I think this is more of like a chill, relax, summery type of vibe. I don't really have, and this is going to sound like a shocker because you guys know I love to read, I don't have a ton of embellishments or things that are about reading or books. I do have some stamps, but die cuts and things, not so much. Just looking to see if there's anything in here that'll work. Nah. That's okay. Sometimes you just have to look through your stuff to see what you have and then, you know, see if something will work. And if it doesn't, then, you know, that's cool. It's not like a big deal. This one is Awesome Life. This has a lot of colorful things in it. This is from Hip Kit Club. Oh, there's some fun things. Just looking through here to see what will work. Take that out. These are little circle tags, or this is a little tag. You can stick that there. And I have the arrow, which is that curved shape. Adding that curved shape into the straight lines of those strips. See, folks, sometimes it just comes sometimes it just comes together like this. I'm always asked, how do you plan out your layouts? A lot of times, depending on what I'm doing, I don't. It just sort of comes together. What if I did? No, don't like that. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. So those look like they're pretty good anchors, right? So I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna commit to that being there. No commitment issues here, people. Let's just do it. Just do the thing. I'm just gonna stick that there. And then this guy here, since this photo's popped up, I'm gonna have to pop her up. So let's bring in some of this foam here. Little foam situation. And of course I run out of adhesive. But never fear, I have 10,000 more. 10,000 more inserts. Refills. Alright. It's always the case. You're filming something, and then you run out of adhesive. But with my new organization system, I have it close at hand. So there we go. This goes. Let's go ahead and slap in a refill. All right. This is my favorite type of scrapbooking. I like not knowing where I'm going to go. I know for some people that may not be the case. It may drive you wild not to know where you're going to go. But that's half the fun, at least in my opinion. I'm liking how I've introduced this new shape because now it's giving it some movement, right? It's giving it some movement. Circles here, circle, it's kind of adding a little bit more weight to it. All right, so we know we're not going to use these die cuts, so let's just go ahead and move that out the way. Found a couple in this little pack from, it's called Awesome Life by Kim and Kimberly. They designed for Hip Hip Club. Alrighty. Now, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's pull out these Studio Calico 7 paper embellishments and see where we go with that. These have stickers. This one says, I love to read. This one says nerd. We're book nerds in this family. This one says bookworm. What if I put that like here? Like tuck it here. That'll work. I mean, a layout about reading, that's as close as I get to having stuff about books outside of stamps. So I'm happy with that. Okay. I feel this needs something else there. Okay, so that's starting to come together. I have these Felicity Jane felt hearts. Let's see what we can do with that. And you know, if it don't work, it don't work. It's really that simple. I'm just grabbing some. And a lot of times when I'm scrapbooking, I'm like, will that work? Yep. Let's use it. Sometimes I don't know. I don't like that there. How about we... kind of feel like... Oh, come on, little sticker. Like, do what I need you to do. These are little felt hearts, and from Felicity Jane. This is from the Bailey collection. And Felicity Jane sometimes has materials left over from her kits. So go check it out if you're interested. Trying to decide if I want that tucked, peeking out like that. That's kind of cute. All right, let's get a glue dot. Let's commit. Oh, they're right up here. They're right on my desk. I'm like, let's get a glue dot. Where they're at, I don't know. The hearts are perfect to calm down the floral embellishments and tie it together. I agree. I've been using a lot of floral stuff lately, so I'm trying not to use too much. I'm just going to stick that one and just tuck it. So this little heart just peeking out right there. And let's just move this guy. I'm going to have to add some extra adhesive. These cork pieces are old. And sometimes that adhesive starts to kind of fade a little bit. So I'm just going to put a glue dot at the bottom of that heart, just in case I want to move it. I don't want it stuck to the photo. Okay, so not too bad. I didn't know where this was going, so, you know, we'll just let it do what it do. Let me cut this down. Are you working on a scrapbook project as you're watching this? Let me know. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Oh, See, the letters are moving. Alrighty. Let's see here. We don't want to overcrowd it. We don't want to go too crazy. You guys know I can go crazy, but I'm not going to today. I'm looking at the sticker sheet to see if there's anything on here that I want to add, and I don't really think that there is. I'm considering one of these labels. There's a lot of florals and stuff. Rainbow has enough color on that without having any more rainbows. Labels. Huh. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Then I have this sheet with labels. Let me know if you're working on something crafty right now. Some of you are probably at work up here watching me when you're supposed to be working on your TSP reports. Some folks are still working. That's okay. I won't tell. I won't tell if you don't tell. I used to do the same thing when I worked outside the home. I'm thinking about adding some labels with the strips because they're thin enough. That says the sweetest, you shine. Just playing off that horizontal element. Happy. I don't know what I'm going to put here just yet. And I kind of like this label to like tuck here. I'm trying to see if this will work. I'm going to move this out the way. And then that may give me a place to put the date, which I'm going to have to look up later because I don't remember. I like it with the little stitched design. And then I can come in and put the date there. There we go. And I like that extra bit of green. And the only other thing I'm going to do to this, so I like the little word phrases in there. That's a little added, little pop pop. I want that there. Nope. Just going to add another little word in here somewhere. Just, they're small enough to just kind of peek, like it's a subtle, you can't really see it until you're up on it, you know? I'm just stick one right here. It's experimental. That's what the word I was looking for, right? You got to experiment. It's like your favorite artist. They make all these records that are seemingly pretty consistent, and then one year they're doing something completely different, right? They're experimenting. Alrighty. Let's add some little dots. Let's add some puffy dots, and then we're going to be done with this thing. Just going to add them around the clusters. I'm just picking them at random. Like, I don't have a particular color scheme going on here. Just like, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. This'll work. I want 3. Is that going to go there? Well, I didn't know. You know what I'm talking about when you go back and read it. She's making fun of me because I call it Percy Jackson and the Champions, and it's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Oh, okay. My bad, yo.
Percy Jackson and the Champions.
Well, I was close. I was close enough. I was close enough. I might move these again. That's not doing what I wanted to do. There. That makes more sense. Okay. So, add my little dots. Okay. And then what I'll do is add some liquid adhesive to the letters down here. I'm going to use some Barely Art liquid adhesive. Carrie says, just joining. Love Percy Jackson. Woohoo! Laura says, your page is pulling together beautifully with each new embellishment. Thank you so much. Hey, Scrapbook Sister 70. So glad I got out early from work to catch live. Yay! Awesome. Laura's on a union break. Absolutely. Some of you are out and about working. I think as things start easing up a bit, well, I say that loosely with COVID. I know a lot of people have been working throughout this whole thing, and some folks have been working from home, and everything in between. So it's okay to take a little union break, you know. Watch your favorite scrappy people on YouTube. We appreciate it. We don't want you getting fired though, so like, unless you are the boss, then you know, that's a different story. Okay, so I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to the back of these letters so they stick to the page. Again, if you don't know much about thickers, the chipboard ones, the adhesive usually isn't really that tacky. So you add just a little bit more. I'm going to do the same with the skinnier letters. I'm not going to do that on air right now, but the skinnier letters are kind of pilling up because I'm working with texture cardstock. It's not sitting flat against that paper. So I'm going to add just a teeny bit to that. But I do want to get these stickers down because they're moving. And once these are down, this layout is going to be done. I'm going to add something here. I don't know what yet. Maybe some stamping or something. I don't know. I might add, now that I think about it, the number 11, because usually with pages about my kiddo, I like to add a number that symbolizes her age during that time. And I do that if I forget to add the date. And that actually has helped me out a lot. So I can actually, I like putting in little hints of things on layouts that mean something to me, and it may not, nobody else may know what it means, but I know what it is when I look at it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a thicker font to do that in. I'm going to use my surface sweep to kind of sweep off my layout. I have some little flyaways from paper and stuff there. And with that, I'm going to call this layout done. The only other thing I need to do is add the date, which I'm going to do, and then I'm going to add the a little bit more adhesive towards the back of these skinnier letters, and then I'm going to add something here. I'm not quite sure. Well, probably the number 11, because it symbolizes her age. Let me actually look at, while I'm thinking about it, this green, yellowy type color. So I like that one. I'm trying to get these out without like pulling them out because they're not sticking to the they're not sticking to the paper. And I don't want them to all fall out.
That's 12.
Oh, you're not 12. Oh, Lord Jesus. You're not 12.
Not for another couple of months.
Yeah, I recognize that. Yeah, let's do that. That finished that out nicely.
Yeah.
Yas. Yas. Yas, queen. All right. Let's go ahead and add that on, symbolizing her age. Nobody else may know what that means. Corinne will know what it is. That's important. You will inherit my 1 million scrapbooks when I'm gone.
Woo!
Okay. And with that, this layout's done, folks. We is done with this layout. I just need to add the date, which I need to go to my phone so I can remember what it is. So this entire layout I made using items from my stash, starting with the pattern papers, cut those down into strips, create a really fun background as an anchor for my photos, came in, add some coordinating embellishments. I used the colors from the pattern paper to dictate what embellishments that I wanted to use, and this is all from different manufacturers that came together to create this. Added some thickers, added some LE Studio sticker fonts to this, I'm going to reinforce that with a little bit of extra adhesive. Added some puffy dots. The puffy dots are from Pebbles, and this is from what collection was this from? It was Sun and Fun collection. I got that to work on a project for scrapbooking cards today. Added some felt hearts and some cork pieces here, all bringing in texture. Usually when I'm working with my stash, I like to grab different items, right? I'm going to use my cork, my wood veneer, my felt, all those things, so I can add some interest and use up some of these products that I have sitting around. I really love the way that this came out. I like it on a white background. I could, of course, have trimmed that white background, added something with a border if I wanted to do that, but I really love just how the colors pop, making the photos stand out. The photos don't get lost with everything that's going on, and it's somewhat like slightly graphic, a little editorial, somewhere in between there, but I like the way it came out. Okay, let me go to the comments real quick. Right, Mandy, the green just was like, it just set it off. It just set it off, in my opinion. Absolutely. That was like the great finishing touch. It needed something, we needed something there in that area of the layout. I love these clusters. Look how much texture, the felt, the cork. Get all those things out. You can even make your own felt embellishments, right? You can totally do that. Deborah says that you are such a young lady, Rennie.
Thank you.
Such a lovely, beautiful young lady.
You.
She said thank you, and thank you very much from her mother. Let's see. Barb says, I think I'm going to be cutting up some paper today. What a neat way to use scraps. Absolutely, go for it. Good choice on the 11. Thank you. I thought so too. That's, sometimes you're looking at a layout and it's like, it needs that one thing, and sometimes it'll just come to me, and sometimes it won't, but looking at it in person, it definitely, at least looking at the whole composition, it looks really good. Working on Easter layouts for my sons 30 years ago. Hey, Lori, better late than never, right? Absolutely. Laura says, my mom just had her 80th. I think the cut papers would look great for a layout. Oh, yes. You can do all kinds of fun things. Absolutely. Laura says, white backgrounds are my fave. They are my fave too. It just literally, I love that clean slate, and then you can do whatever you want to at that point. All right, folks. Well, that's all I have for you on this Friday. I hope for those of you who observe Easter, happy Easter. I hope you have a relaxing Easter Sunday, Easter weekend. We're just going to put a ham in the oven and call it a day. This year for Easter, not a whole lot going on here, so I hope you get a lot of rest and relaxation. Couple of things before you go. If you are new to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel, make sure you click the subscribe button when you do click the bell. That way you'll be notified every time we go live here on the channel. I have some recorded content planned coming in April, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you want to follow me on all my socials, those links are down below in the description. If you are interested in taking a free card making class, make sure you check that out. I have information on my blog. That link is also in the description for the 10 designers make 10 cards for Cards of Kindness class. Myself and my fellow instructors are all bringing you great simple ideas that you can make cards this weekend. So why not? Just go take that class. It's free. Grab you a glass of wine, have some fun. We will come back here on Friday and do this all over again. If you like watching me work with my stash, let me know if you want to see more of this on our Friday Lives, and I'll be happy to oblige. I'm glad that you guys love the layout. I'll take a picture of it and post it on my socials, so make sure you follow me there, subscribe to the newsletter, all those great things. And as always, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you next week. Have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. Thank you for your support. Bye.